You know what? I'm hearing you say over and over again, you want to be person-centered, yet it appears that you're cost-cutting centered. And I think you're reflecting some misplaced priorities here and failing to fully recognize the humanity of your clients. Like, for example, you talk of group homes are not a combination of beds to be dispensed out, randomly. Group homes are homes for a group of people. And when you say that they can't go out on a therapeutic leave, they can't go home without being penalized, you're basically saying it's not your home, it's an institution, because we're going to pay only when you're in that bed. Now you're saying that for the first 96 days that somebody's not in the bed. So that means if they go home every weekend to visit their parents or their loved ones or go on a vacation, the agencies or whoever's running the group home is only going to get 50% of the daily rate. And if they go over 96 days, even if they're in the hospital, they're going to lose the entire daily rate. Now tell me, what assisted living facility penalizes a senior citizen for going to visit family? What college dorm penalizes a college student for going home to visit the family? Is this a human way to run an agency that's supposed to be person-centered?
As I said earlier, we do not restrict the ability of individuals to visit their families on the weekend.
But you're going to take 50% of the payment, of the rate, every time they go home. So that's taking money out of running the home. So that may mean they can't paint the room again for another 2 years, or they can't fix the steps, or they can't do something else, correct? Commissioner, I am told there are 3,000 vacant beds, if we talk about beds, in the voluntary sector, and that your agency has told them you don't have the money to pay for people in those beds. Is that true?
I don't believe that that's
well, how much money is in this budget for new placements in group homes and other beds? Let's use your term, beds. How much new money is in this budget?
There is, as I said earlier, a sufficient amount of capacity to support all individuals who have an emergency request.
Emergency only, Commissioner. Now, you've got 3 categories: emergency, substantial, and current, correct? And right now, I'm understanding it takes 5 months to place an emergency placement in a bed, and not necessarily an appropriate group home. That's just placing them in a bed. So it could be a senior, an older man going into a group home with 4 women. Isn't that true? And then substantial takes 9 months. And if you have a current need, like you're talking about somebody living with their parents, that could take at least 6 months to just determine that they have a need. Isn't that true?
I can't speak to any specific individual.
Commissioner, you are in charge of the agency, not me. If I have this information, why don't you?
Because our commitment is to provide a person-centered focus in planning for
Commissioner, you were talking about going acuity-based. Didn't you have a program like that where you had a high needs special allotment so that you could set up a facility for people with higher needs? And you've changed that. You've cut out that special acuity-based increased allotment on a rate?
Actually, we have an agreement with the federal government for a high needs payment methodology. That payment methodology will expire July 1st. We need to come up with a new one. We think that's just another opportunity for us to improve the quality of our.
I understand the rhetoric about wanting to improve, but it's not improving on the ground. That's the problem. Now, you were talking about going to telemodalities. How many of the people who need DAHAB have the capability of accessing a computer by themselves? Have you done a survey of that?
We provided this as an option for individuals to choose.
Commissioner, it's being used in place of active DAHAB. It's not being used in addition to. So how many people who want DAHAB have to go to telemodalities because there's no other option?
Again, we have tried to expand the range of opportunities.
You have no numbers. You're not fact-based. You're just trying to, on theory. Let me ask you a question. If somebody has the capability of accessing a computer by themselves, why would they need a DAHAB program to go on the computer?
We provide opportunities for people to make decisions based on their personal preferences.
Years ago, DAHAB used to provide training. It used to provide job training and entree into the job market. Why does it not do that anymore? Why has it become a babysitting service? What are you going to do about that?
As I said earlier, we've asked our day program providers to look at alternatives to center-based programming to, in particular, look at community-based alternatives, which include supported employment.
All right, let me just end with one final point, Commissioner. You said that there was no monies being cut from housing. Yet it's a fact, isn't it, that there's a special $3,000 allotment of state monies for each person, and it's called other than personal services, and it's used to pay for telephone and computers and access to the internet, et cetera. And yet you've cut 20%. You've withheld $600 from $3,000. How much money are you saving to cut somebody off from the internet at a time when you're saying they should be using telemodalities?
Again, are you referring to the local assistance payments, the non-Medicaid local assistance payments?
I'm talking about the non-Medicaid to the individual people who are in self-determination, who use this $3,000 to pay for the internet, to pay for their cell phone. That's what it's there for, but it's all state monies. And you have been withholding 20%. So people who are living on Medicaid wages, $2,000 a month, $12,000 a year, are expected to pick up the additional charge of the $600. To us, we're saving maybe $500,000 a year. But to these people, $600 is a lot of money. Why are we doing that?